Yes people, it's Andrew here from Braces Motors, bringing you a bit of a different video today. We're going to be showing you the cheapest way to 400 brake horsepower. So the car we're going to be showcasing to you today is this lovely N54 engine BMW 335i. It was made in 2006 and we've just managed to bag it the other day for £3,000. So the E92 335i coupes were powered by an inline 6 3-litre twin turbocharged engine, pushing out an impressive 301 brake horsepower and 400 newton meters of torque. They weighed in at 1,525 kilograms, could reach a top speed of 155 miles an hour, and got from 0 to 60 in just 5.3 seconds. So the N54 engine is very, very popular with tuners all around the world, mainly because you can get massive power out of it with minimal expenditure. I mean, these cars, this is pushing 400 brake horsepower, and all that's been installed, I think, is intakes, an exhaust, and an intercooler. So as you would have seen in the start of the video, the car is extremely dirty, so we are going down to our favourite car wash to get it a full valet, just so you can kind of see. I mean, it's not the cleanest car in the world, as you can imagine, for £3,000, but you know, I think it's still a pretty presentable car. We're going to do a little bit of work to it. We're going to paint up the bumpers, make them fit really nice. But I mean, in a nutshell, it is a cheap, 400 brake car, so we can't be expecting, a show car sort of material out of it. So as you can imagine, a 400 brake horsepower car for £3,000, it's not going to come without issues. I mean, it does have a few teething bits on it, some that we want to sort, some that we don't really want to. The first of which is we took it down the road after a few drives. I took it home a few nights, and the boost pipe, it actually exploded. I mean, it has hard pipes, so obviously they're aftermarket. It's required when you're obviously running a bit more power through the engine. We got an engine malfunction. I was myself, and in the end it ended up only being that pipe. Our lovely mechanic managed to fix it, and it was all right. We have ever since then though had an engine light. Not quite sure why. I haven't actually even bothered to put it on the code reader just yet, because I'm not quite sure what my plans are with this car. I don't know whether I want to keep it and have a bit of fun with it, or whether I want to sell it on to the next punter. So the guy we actually bought this car off, I think he was a tree surgeon. He listed it just the night before for £4,000, which was obviously very, very cheap for a 335i. And they normally start around 5 or 5.5. Reason it was quite cheap, the mileage is quite high, and the bumpers at the front and the rear, they're a little bit tatty. I mean, he's put these M Sport bumpers on, but you can see a few blemishes on the front and the rear. We're going to show you that. I also did crash it into a slab of granite as well, so part of the damage was my fault. That was literally the night I got it as well. That was really cool. But yeah, being an absolute last price cash boss man I am, I messaged him, I offered him £3,000 and said, look mate, I'll come right now. He ended up sort of saying, yeah, go on then, I'll get rid of it. I don't think he was short of a few pounds. But yeah, I ended up getting it for £3,000. Me and Max went up in the recovery truck, put it on the back, and the rest was history. So we're going to arrive at the valeters in a few minutes. Our boy Christy is an absolute sucker for a cheap German. So we're going to show him, we're going to ask him for his opinion. Undoubtedly valid, his opinion is, in the cheap German market. So you're going to get his first opinion. Oh, look at that. Not that busy as well. Let's get Christy's first reaction. Christy, what is your opinions on the car? Come here. Christy, if you had to describe the car in 3 words, what would they be? Ready for the tunnel. Big turbo noise. So not only has this car had quite a lot of performance upgrades, it's had quite a lot of handling stuff done as well. So it's been lowered, it's on spacers, and it's actually got a stud conversion for VW type wheels, as you might have seen. I'm really not a fan of them, but hey ho. One of the downsides to that, however, is, I don't know if you can hear that on the video, but there's a massive knocking from I think it's the top mount. So that probably does need to get sorted before we either sell it or keep it or whatever we're going to do with it. But yeah, really cringy, really embarrassing, if the car wasn't already embarrassing as anyway. As you can hear, sexual noises. So as you can imagine, a tuned up car like this, 3 litre twin turbo, obviously it's not going to be very good on fuel, and I've definitely noticed that. I mean, I drove up to Potton the other night, just literally Potton, straight back. Obviously I was giving it a little bit of beans. I mean, you always do when you drive a car like this. It might be to do with why it's really bad on fuel. But yeah, really bad. It spent about £30 just literally going from Stevenage to Potton and back, which is about a 40-minute drive. So not the best on fuel, but you definitely have fun whilst you're spending that money. So aside from the handling and performance upgrades, this car actually has 2 interior modifications I actually really like. It's this M3 steering wheel. They're obviously a bit thicker than the M Sport ones, and it's actually had the paddle mod done as well. Now when you get these cars, essentially the stock paddle shifters, you know, they're in for down and out for up, I think, or the other way around maybe. But you have to get this mod done where obviously left, like in the M3s of this age, it's just down and right is up. And yeah, it's really nice, really responsive. And listen to that bloody blow off valve as well, that is lovely. Wow. But yeah, no, it's really responsive. It hasn't actually had the XHP gearbox map, which is really popular with these cars and the 335Ds. But even still, I mean, I think it performs pretty well. And it's also got this lovely boost gauge here, sort of retrofitted where the vent would be. I'm not a big fan of boost gauges that sort of look out of place, but that one does a really good job. The only thing I did wish is it had full carbon trims in the centre console and on the dash. I think that would kind of complete the look. So I mean, of all the cars I've owned and driven throughout the years of buying and selling and all that sort of stuff, I have to say this model of car is probably the one that I'm most used to. And I've never driven one before with spacers and the lowering springs and everything like that. I think it just gives a completely different dynamic. So when you're going around the corners, it sticks like a go-kart. I mean, there's no body roll as opposed to, you know, the SE specs and, you know, even like the M Sport specs. That this just feels so much more planted. I mean, when you get that DTC off as well, dynamic traction control, you can really spin around the corners nice. We'll demonstrate that in full detail in a minute, because this is obviously my car and not someone else's. We can have some fun with it. So you can have a little ASMR video of how these joints are. Never does it on the camera. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Oh, there you heard it. So the paint I explained in the start of the video, obviously it's on the front and the rear bumpers. You can see in many places, not quite the best. And I also did reverse it into some marble as well. So that was my fault, and nothing too much I can do about that now. I was probably going to get it painted anyway. And also, this bloody parking sensor is falling through and it is the most annoying thing ever. We'll put in a little clip of that. It's really annoying. So we'll show you the front one now as well. I think it's a lot worse than the back one. As you can see, the paint's starting to fade. Around the parking sensors, it's really not looking too great. And down the bottom as well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff there that needs touching in. But I have to say, I mean, I would prefer these than the SE bumpers that was on it before. I do just think they need properly fitting. You can see around the side here, they just don't look the best. I mean, it is a HPI clear car, and I imagine it did probably look a bit cleaner before they changed the bumpers. But I'm sure we can get it looking nice once again. Now, another thing I absolutely despise is these bloody wheels. Now, as I told you, they're on a 5x100 stud conversion. So, you know, some people might like them. They're like BBS reps, I think. At least that's just going off of the rear centre caps. The fitment's really good. I have to say, it never scrapes, but I could really do with some 19s on there with some lower profile tyres. I mean, I had a 335D stage 2 with some CSL. I think they were still reps on there. I'll show you a little quick picture of that if I can find one. But the way that's sat, what do you reckon, Max? That was lovely. Now, of course, I'm a skillless driver, so we're going to come and get the unknown Stig to come and show what he can do to this lovely roundabout here. So yeah, enjoy the clips and welcome the unknown Stig. pissed. Oh, it's a dad and he has an ST logo. You know he's got a massive car.
Recorded.
Fucking revved up a bit weird then, didn't it?
Yeah.
Dump that was lovely, isn't it? Woo! That off valve makes your woolly twitch. Lovely. No one's called us yet. Bit disappointed. So we ended the video pretty abruptly yesterday and I thought we was just missing something. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it out on the A602, get the draggy box and see what sort of times it can do. Right, so we're pulling out onto the A602 now. I'm going to try and give myself a nice big gap and get the best time we possibly can. It's a nice big warrior in front of me, so well, here we go. Right, let's go. Yeah, nice work. He can wait a second. I should go 20 to 70. 100 as well. Maybe not. Insignia's in the way. Right. Ready? £13 an hour, just like that. Lovely. Can we see what data we've got, Brad? So all in all, we managed to do a 0 to 60 time in 4.57 seconds. For some reason it said was invalid. I'm not too sure why. We're not very good at using the draggy app yet. I'm sure we'll get a lot better. But yeah, lovely car for, you know, £3 what we paid for it. I'm sure you'll see much more of it. Not sure quite what we're going to do with it yet, but we're going to fix it up. Maybe do a few more videos on it. But thank you very much for watching and I'll see you next time.